Hi, thanks for joining. We're just waiting on more candidates to join and then I'll introduce myself. So while we're waiting on more candidates to join, why don't you all let me know where you're from? I'm from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm checking the chat to see where you're from. Oh, you're from Japan, from Brazil. Awesome. And we've got candidates from India as well. Let's just give it another minute and then I'll start with the webinar. Okay, and we've got Isabella, she's from Colombia. Inez is from Ireland. Welcome. All right. I'm going to begin. Uh, Welcome to everyone that's joining this stress management and self-care class for women in tech. I'm Bonita Young. I am a tech recruiter at VanHack. The presentation that I will bring to you, it will touch on obviously how to handle stress and self-care for yourself personally, and also I will end off as to how we can actually add self-care to our job searches, because it can get a bit tough at times while searching for a new position. But before I begin, I just want to know, are you hearing me clearly? Okay, awesome. All right, so I also just want you to know, once I start with the presentation, I won't be able to see your comments, but I definitely will have a look at the comments, and if there is any questions, I will try to, I'll try my best to answer them. If not, you're welcome to contact me via Slack or email, but I will share those details with you. But once I start the presentation, I won't be able to see your comments. All right. So thank you once again to everyone that is joining me. I'm going to share my screen with you now. All right. So yes, this is a presentation on stress management and self-care. As most of you know, I am Bonita. I'm a tech recruiter at VanHack. Here are my Slack details, which is at VanHack-Bonita. My email address is bonita.young@vanhack.com. So, what is stress? Okay, so we all experience stress. When we feel stressed, we'll feel threatened at times. We don't know what the outcome of something will be, or when we feel like we have taken on too much. Experiencing a certain level of stress is healthy and can have a positive impact on our performance, such as a job interview, public speaking, or even going on a date. When we are stressed, it does not mean that you are mentally ill. And stress is just a normal reaction, and you can learn ways to manage and control it. And as I've discussed, I will share some of that during the presentation. So the types of stresses that we have, okay, there's acute stress, which is an immediate and quick increase of stress that activates the fight or flight system. Example, when you're getting into a car accident, there's chronic stress, stress associated with daily living. It can become an issue that can impact your physical and mental health if it's not managed. There's eustress, which is stress in your daily life that is helpful and can be positive. As we just mentioned, being a bit nervous before a job interview. And then there's distress, which is feeling overwhelmed and being unable to cope. So, our body on stress, okay? So, one of the ways in which our body can respond to that is by a fight or flight response, okay? So, basically, what it is, it's an automatic physiological reaction to an event that is perceived as stressful or frightening. This activates your nervous system and it triggers an acute stress response that prepares your body to fight or flee. So, as per the diagram here, you can see that it affects your brain, which is sending a signal to your adrenaline glands, your eyes, you're getting tunnel vision. In terms of your breathing, you start breathing fast, your muscles become tense, your bladder becomes relaxed, your hands become shaky, your heart is accelerating, etc. So there's different ways in which our body reacts with stress. Okay, there's different stress responses such as fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So with fight, your sympathetic nervous system, it can cause irritability, anger, aggression, moving toward flight, your sympathetic nervous system also. So that will cause anxiety and fear, avoiding chronic worry, perfectionism, panic. With freeze, dorsal vagal, stuckness, collapse, immobilization, spacing out, depression, dissociation, shame. And then with fawn, we usually do people pleasing, avoiding conflict, prioritizing others' needs over your own, and difficulty with saying no and setting boundaries is hard. So, in terms of stress affecting us, we would somehow fit into one of these categories. For myself, I would usually say it will be fawn because I tend to avoid conflict. As for everyone attending, feel free to share in the chat as to how you respond to stress. Okay. And then what contributes to stress? So internal stresses, like a negative self-talk, like telling yourself you can't do this or you've just had enough. Thinking traps, being you're thinking about the situation that's upsetting you all the time. Having low self-esteem and even poor health will contribute to stress manifesting. In terms of external stresses, the physical environment, daily hassles, something as silly as long lines for coffee, because obviously you're in a hurry, long commuting to and from work, interpersonal interactions, which is examples such as rude co-workers, conflict in relationships, and major life events such as getting married, starting a new job, juggling a new baby with work, life, and everything else. So, what stresses you out? How does stress make you feel? What do you think when you are stressed? How does your body feel? What do you do when you are stressed? As I said, feel free to share in the chat as to what stresses you out, what makes you feel stressed, where do you feel it in your body if you are stressed? Okay, so how we experience stress, okay? Stress affects the way our body works, the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. And so, in terms of being stressed out, it affects all of these factors. So, some people would say they can take out their stress when they get home, but some people are unable to do that and they would take it out in the workplace and everywhere. But we somehow need to get around managing our stress effectively. So, as I mentioned before, feel free to add in the chat, where do you feel stress in your body? With myself, when I'm feeling a bit stressed, I would usually feel it in my shoulders. It would become so tense. Sometimes I'll have heavy headaches. Uh, and something as silly as this, and you wouldn't even think that stress would bring it on. I would even sometimes get a rash on my arms. So feel free to share as to where you feel stress in your body. So when does stress become a problem? Okay. When there is no significant threat, when we feel stressed after the stressful event or the threat has passed, when it restricts our life by limiting choices, when it negatively impacts our performance, and when stress leads to panic attacks and feelings of extreme anxiety. So this is the cycle of stress, okay? It usually starts off with thoughts, such as you will think to yourself, I just can't cope with this anymore. Then eventually we start having feelings, such as feeling stressed, of course, being irritable, frustrated, and worried. And then those feelings, it will turn to our behaviors, such as we would start avoiding, or we would rather do too much in order not to feel stressed. And then, just in terms of the next phase of the cycle, which is physical responses, such as our thoughts, again, I can't cope, I can't do this, it's too hard, things is going awful. You start feeling jittery, start getting headaches, butterflies in your stomach, and just feeling tense all around. When we experience chronic stress, we are more prone to burnout. So just to share, burnout, there's many people, especially within the workplace, that tends to suffer from burnout. Some people don't even know that they've reached the point of burnout. So when we have reached the point of burnout, you start feeling exhausted. You just feel physically drained, emotionally drained, and you feel like you don't have the energy to get through the day. Alienation begins. You start distancing yourself emotionally and physically, and you start feeling numb about things that would have previously caused you stress. Your performance is reduced, you have difficulty concentrating, feeling lethargic, and find it difficult to concentrate. And burnout has a significant impact on everyday tasks, not just at work, but at home as well. And I would say, particularly for women, it can get quite difficult at times, juggling being a mom, having a full time job, running your household. And as myself, I am a mom and I work full time, etc. And I do feel at times like I cannot just sit still and realize, you need to take a break. So you're always in that mode of you need to get going, things need to get done. But yeah, take note of these pointers to remember that you would not want to burn out, because if that does happen, it's either you're going to have to take off time from work. I've actually spoken to people that had been hospitalized because of burning out as well. So do take care of yourself if you do come across any of these pointers within your own life. Okay, so coping with stress. Okay, so each person copes with stress in different ways. We either develop unhealthy or poor coping mechanisms to relieve stress in the short term. Some of them is alcohol, substance abuse, overeating, overspending, suppression, holding onto it, ignoring it, acting out, complaining, and blaming others. Uh, yes, this is effective in the short term for you, but it definitely will have negative consequences in the long term. So, in terms of managing your stress, reach out to your support system. It could be your partner, your family, a friend. Assertively communicate your needs and boundaries. It's also important to be able to hold your boundaries and recognize when you're at capacity. Um, so yeah, like some of us, we don't recognize that, and then we'll just keep on going, and that's when things can get out of control. And one of the most important things is to practice self-care, which I will discuss in more detail later in the presentation. I mean, just in terms of a healthy lifestyle, this is also one of the mechanisms in order to manage your stress is to have a good and healthy diet, um, getting enough sleep, exercising, and substance use to decrease it. Take a break and just plan pleasant activities. Okay, so sleep and stress. Okay, having anxious thoughts and worries may make it difficult for you to settle your brain, and as it disrupts the quality of sleep. Disruption of sleep can likely leave you to feeling more on edge. And by improving your quality of sleep, you can also have an impact on the intensity of your stress. So, in terms of healthy sleep, adults in good health require an average of around 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep. For myself, I would say that I probably don't get enough sleep because once it's downtime for everyone, I take time out to either read a book or I'd scroll on my phone and see it as me time, or just take time out to just focus on something that I enjoy doing. And then I end up not having 7 hours of sleep. Stress may interfere as well with your ability to get a solid night's rest. And that tends to happen when you're obviously thinking of whatever it is that is stressing you out all the time. And it will sometimes lead to insomnia as well. So, healthy sleep habits. Try to have a bedtime routine and aim to go to sleep around the same time every night. Put your phone away for 30 minutes before bedtime. I should apply that for myself. Avoid getting into bed when you're restless or anxious, and instead do something that will calm you down, such as sleep meditation or even journaling. Shifting your mindset while being stressed. Perceptions and beliefs can influence our experience of stress. We build on your self confidence and believe that you're able to work through difficult situations. Recognize that you can and cannot control. In many cases, some of us, such as myself, I do feel that I need to be in control of the situation at hand. But sometimes there are things that happen in life that is just totally out of your control, such as an accident. So, just in general, we need to recognize that there's certain situations that we can control and others that we cannot. And always try your best to engage in positive self talk. And for me, this is one of my favorites. It's taking time for gratitude and appreciation. Make time for pleasurable activities such as listening to your favorite music, watch your favorite movie or series that you enjoy, go for a walk, which I thoroughly enjoy. I stay in Muizenberg in Cape Town, and the beach is not too far from where I am. And whenever I'm feeling stressed, I go for a walk on the beach. And that is like just one of the things that will instantly improve my mood so quickly. So that is what I enjoy doing if I'm feeling a bit stressed. Taking a long bath, meet up with your friends, go for a walk in nature, um, try a new restaurant or food, and explore a part of the city that you've never been to. Okay, so what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way on the purpose in the present moment and non judgmentally. Um, for you ladies, what images come to mind when you think about mindfulness? You're most welcome to add that in the chat. Okay, so mindfulness is research based. So this was adapted from Denise Wallace, and she is a registered social worker in Ontario, Canada. So mindfulness is emotion regulation. It's decreased reactivity and increased response flexibility. It also has interpersonal benefits. Mindfulness can predict relationship satisfaction, and it has the ability to respond constructively to relationship stress. The skill of identifying and communicating your emotions to your partner, and the amount of relationship conflict, negativity, and empathy. Individuals who are more mindful have been found to enter relationship conflicts with less anger and anxiety. Mindfulness has been found to enhance self insight, morality, intuition, and fear modulation. And what does the research say? This has also been adapted from Natasha Saini, and she is a career counselor in Canada. So it increases your immune function. Being mindful, it reduces your psychological distress. It increases information processing speed. It decreases task effort. It increases your attention, and it increases ability to cope with distractions. And most importantly, being mindful, you will decrease your stress and anxiety. So over here we have the mindful breathing square. This is something so simple, but literally just holding for 4 seconds, breathing in for 4 seconds, and holding for 4 seconds, and breathing out for 4 seconds. This a very easy exercise can help with you having those mindful thoughts and also relaxing yourself at the same time. So, this is just one of the techniques that can help with stress management. And this is another technique that can help you with stress management. It is the 5 4 3 2 1 grounding technique. Firstly, you will acknowledge 5 things that you see around yourself. Acknowledge 4 things that you can see, that you can touch around yourself. Acknowledge 3 things that you can hear around you. And acknowledge 2 things that you can smell around you. And lastly, acknowledge 1 thing that you can taste around you. So this technique, it will help you not think about whatever it is that is stressing you out. As something as simple as this, it gives you an opportunity to be mindful as well, and it will help you get through the stressful situation that you're in. So, what is self care? Okay, so self care is an activity that we do to deliberately in order to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical health. Self care is not selfish, and doing things to keep you healthy is important. Yes, some people might say self care is selfish, but it's absolutely not. We do need to take care of ourselves in various ways in order for us to give the best of ourselves to those around us. And that's not just in the workplace, um, but within our personal lives as well. Some easy self-care activities, drinking some water, going for a walk. One of my favorites is petting an animal. Sometimes I'll take time out from my desk and just sit for a few moments and pet my dog. I'm putting your phone down and even watching a funny little video. And then, without us even thinking about it, but daily self care activities uh, is taking a shower, brushing your teeth, getting dressed for the day, breathing, and most importantly, as I said, I enjoy practicing gratitude. And then, lastly, ways to infuse self care into the job search process. Okay. As I mentioned previously, there are times when we are looking for a new position. It can be quite stressful. These are just some of the short things that you can do with regards to infusing self care into the job search process. Creating a schedule. Okay, this is important because sometimes when we are looking for a new position, for whichever reason, maybe your current position is stressing you out. So because of that, all you can think about is just getting a new position. Take time out and decide, okay, I've got about maybe a half an hour in the day, either in the morning or in the evening, and just for that 30 minutes, you're going to look for a new position. It doesn't mean that whenever you get a chance, you check on your cell phone to see is the new position available on whichever job board or on VanHack's platform or whatever the case may be. But create a schedule as to, okay, I'm going to take out this time of the day to search for a new position. But try your best to stick to it because sometimes we can also become despondent if we just keep on applying to positions and we're not getting the responses that we want. And then it ends up making us feeling a bit down or whatever the case may be. Next, it would be taking a break. As I mentioned, uh, for some people, because they become so stressed up about the situation, they will start feeling a bit stressed about it, like getting headaches, muscle tension, having feeling butterflies in your stomach, etc. So if you do feel like days like that, then take a break. If you feel you need to take a week from looking for a new position, then do that. But don't let it get to the point where the entire job search process is stressing you out. Okay? Then disconnect or reconnect. In this day and age, we tend to take a break with our cell phones most of the time. There is times when we need to disconnect from technology and start reconnecting with our friends, colleagues, family, etc. So take time to do that as well. And then during your job search process, just not being focused on finding a new role, but continue doing your favorite hobbies. Try your best to continue doing the things that you enjoy doing. And then lastly, celebrate victories. Sometimes we forget how much we've accomplished during a job search process. And we tend to fixate on the end goal, which is getting a new position. So try your best to have positive conversation with the recruiter on when you get invited for an interview. And yeah, just do something small to celebrate the victory. So yes, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to leave this on the screen so that you can screen grab and get my Slack details and my email address. I will have a look at some of the comments if there is any questions for me. Uh, is there any questions from anyone? Okay, so Yasi Anshul, she enjoys music to feel a bit good when she gets a small gap. Okay, Gabriella, she feels stress in her hands and her head. Maria's giving us some tips on how to recharge our brain. Ishrat, oh, she gets migraine headaches just as I do, some neck ache, loss of concentration as well. Yes, that is correct, Maria. There is different ways of breathing that can help us, definitely. Because as I said, it is something so small, but that easy exercise, it will just help you through that moment to calm down. Is there any questions that anyone would like to ask me? Okay. Right. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Oh, okay, Maria. Maria's got a question for us. Um, yes. With regards to that, Maria, I'm from South Africa. And I can definitely say that uh, the way the culture is with South African companies and what it is specifically with Canadian, I haven't actually had any experience within a US based company, but I can tell you that the cultures is definitely different. Where I'm currently working, I can say that HR takes burnout, stress management, all of that. She takes it very seriously. So our HR department, they try their best to remind us. We'll attend workshops, etc. But even just the way the culture of the company is, I would say it is much different to what I have experienced with South African companies, and a break is definitely necessary. Sometimes we feel, as I've mentioned, we just feel that we need to keep on going, but we need to realize when we need to take a break and just relax, and obviously practice self care as well. Okay. And then Pauline, when she gets a stress attack or stress to finish a project, she steps away from her desk for 10 minutes to try and calm down. And I'm guessing, Pauline, that does work for you. We all have various ways of managing stress. Okay. But thank you so much to everyone who has joined. As I said, you're most welcome to contact me on Slack or via email if you have any questions. I will share the presentation on the Slack channel as well. Thank you so much to everyone that has joined. I do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a good day further. Bye.